Good day. Someone told me that you're a friend of Jonas's, the young cabin boy who's gone missing.
That's right, yeah. Are you looking for him?
Yes. Your captain asked me to go and find him.
Happy to hear he's taken the disappearance seriously. What can I do for you?
When did you last see him?
2 days ago, in the evening. We went to have a drink in the tavern. Jonas, Lauro, and myself.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary? Was he troubled?
Maybe a tad troubled. Like he was somewhere else.
Why would that be? Give me your best guess.
Boy, I haven't the faintest idea.
What does Jonas do in his free time, when you're on land?
He just hangs around here or there. You know the cabin boys don't have half a sailor's wages. And when evening comes, we usually go down the tavern with good old Lauro.
Did he ever have one too many?
Never. He sips his pint like it was bad medicine. One drink lasts him the whole night.
Does he know anyone in Serene?
No one, far as I know.
Do you think he could have made himself any enemies?
I wouldn't think that for a moment. Jonas has a good heart and he steers clear of trouble and troublemakers.
I don't know where to start with this. Do you have any idea?
No. Lauro won't stop telling anyone who will lend him an ear that the boy was carried off by thugs.
And you don't believe him?
I like Lauro, don't get me wrong, he's like a brother. But to be honest, he drinks a little more than he should. The itch for a drink gets us all, but to him more than others, and when you drink too much, the imagination wanders. Here, yesterday, it was me who tied one over, and I thought I heard Jonas's voice by the canal. I called back to him, as you guessed, but then nothing. Drink. It blurs the senses.
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a damn good navigator, and an excellent leader of men. He knows his craft well, in spite of being so young.
How old is he?
He's not seen his 25th year yet. If he keeps it up, he'll be an admiral one day.
I need to be going. Farewell. Good day, sailor. I've been told that you know the missing cabin boy well. Is that right?
You talking about Jonas? You bet your stars I know him. But like I've been crying to the 9 deaf winds, he didn't go missing, he was taken.
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a just man who knows his knots. He's well appreciated by the crew. It's a pity that he hasn't much heart for laughs now and again. Always seems unhappy, our captain.
Were you a witness to the event?
Yes, I was. Even though I'd had a few tumblers in the belly, I hadn't yet lost my head. The other day, in the tavern, I saw him talking to a well-dressed man, surrounded by some other sly ruffians. And then when we left, him and I, Flavia left a little earlier, you understand. Well, those brutes were there, waiting for him. They just up and took him like that. Grabbed his arms and poof. Gone. Vanished.
Why didn't you intervene?
I tried to, believe me. But my legs betrayed me. Wavering they were. And I fell into the gutter.
Did you report this to the captain?
Unfortunately not. I know all too well what weight my words carry. Even Flavia treated me like a drunken fool. And the captain? No, not telling him that. I still have some pride left, you get...
Did Jonas seem troubled to you, the night he disappeared?
Maybe. For sure he wasn't his usual self.
Do you know what was on his mind?
No. No idea.
Why would anyone want to snatch a mere cabin boy?
How would I know? Jonas is a gentle boy who keeps his head down. You think my story is nothing but mist too, don't you?
It's just that I can't imagine a gang of thugs hoping to get a ransom for a cabin boy. Did anyone else see the kidnapping?
There was still a small crowd in the tavern. But outside, I seem to recall that regular being there. We play cards with him from time to time. Kind of fellow who plays from morning to night time to be that skilled. But now and again he comes out. When nature calls, you know. I kind of remember his face being there.
Thank you, Lara. I need to be going.
Strange story, this.
Something isn't right here, I can feel it. We need to lift the veil on this.
If you had any idea who I am... Open up, imbeciles! I have a ship to catch!
Do you hear that?
Yes, that's Constantine's voice. It's coming from the upper floor. It sounds as if he's locked up.
And I have a feeling they're expecting company. Be careful. The slightest itchy word to these brutes will have them drawing blades to scratch it.
Negotiation may be the solution. As you say, this breed of brutes won't spit on ransom money.
What a waste. I'd rather sneak around them than give half a coin to these seedy fellows.
Swall through! Is your hand
Tavern keeper.
I see you're back. Can I pour you something this time?
I'm looking for a Naut. A young cabin boy who's been missing roll call for 2 days now.
A Naut, you say? That's not a lot to go on. There are quite a few that come to my tavern.
According to one of his fellows, he would have been taken right here.
A kidnapping? In my establishment? You surely jest. Or at least I hope you do. I would have noticed. That doesn't hold water.
Someone told me about one of your faithful clients. A big gambler, it would seem.
I see. An able-bodied man. Passes his time lightening the pouches of sailors coming through.
Where might I find him at this time?
Here? He would never give away his chair at his table. Anything else?
I need to be off. Farewell.
Goodbye.
Who are you? I don't recognize you. Am I in your debt?
No. Have no fear about that. It's for a different reason that I am here. I'm looking for a naut that disappeared 2 days ago, after visiting this establishment. A young cabin boy. 2 members of his crew accompanied him.
Yes, that does ring a bell. I've played with the 3 of them.
What can you tell me about the boy? How was he that night?
He seemed rather nervous, as if he was worried about something. Didn't feel like playing, that I remember. And he must have been right to be nervous, if he's disappeared.
Tell me what happened that evening.
A rich merchant came in, with a band of strong arms. The kind of men you can round up for a few coins, if you catch my drift. They exchanged words with the cabin boy. The kid was defensive, not sitting pretty. And then they finally left.
And after that?
It just so happens that I did go out for a breather. I needed some fresh air. And I think I might well have seen those same men grab him. But that was none of my business. I wouldn't have thought that they were kidnapping him if that's what it was. They weren't particularly rough with him.
Who was the rich merchant, do you think? A jilted lover? A moneylender?
No, sir. You are in luck. It so happens that I know the man. It was Sir Fontaine, that merchant.
Where can I find him?
He has a house in the wealthy boroughs, just off the canal. A stone's throw from the Theleme embassy.
Thank you. You've been immensely helpful.
This man is completely owned by his love for the game. Do you think we can trust him?
What would he gain from lying?
I have no idea. But what would any wealthy merchant gain from holding a penniless child?
Might I help you, sir?
I would like to have a word with Sir Fontaine.
He is absent, but the lady of the house could certainly receive you. Enter, please. Might I help you, sir?
I need to be going. Farewell.
Oh, I know you. I've seen you at court. You are Lord de Sade. And to what do I owe the honor of your visit, Excellency?
I would like to have a word with your husband.
He is not here, but perhaps I could be of help.
It concerns a delicate matter. We're looking for a missing cabin boy. According to witnesses, he had an argument with your husband before being taken.
I see. I am afraid that you have been misled. You seem to have come to the wrong conclusion. The cabin boy you speak of was not taken. He has simply returned home.
Excuse me, but I'm not sure I understand.
Don't you see, Your Excellency? We got our son back.
I am very surprised. Several witnesses confirmed that your son had a fight with your husband, and that his men escorted him from the tavern using force. If he had joined your husband willingly...
Witnesses? In a tavern? And you choose to believe these drunkards over a respectable family?
These witnesses are all in agreement, and it's their testimonies that have led me to your doorstep.
My son was probably shocked to have found us. My husband and the other men might have simply had to carry him. A gesture that your drunkards must have misunderstood.
What was your son doing on a Naut ship? Why would they have taken him?
It is what they do. Through pacts and contracts, they steal away young children from their mothers.
What are you talking about?
I would have thought that a legate would know these things. But it is true that you are young and inexperienced. It seems that you have been protected from the turpitudes of our own nation and their terrible allies. This horrible, constant ransoming that they put us through. But I will not say another word. You will have no trouble verifying the details now that you know what to look for.
Where might I find your son now?
I cannot say, Excellency. You must understand why. Until the Nauts have set sail, we live in fear they will take him back from us.
This pact? It sounds like some fear-inducing story.
The Nauts wouldn't be the first to recruit through dubious means.
Did you get what you came for? Leave me now, please.
Sir, you still haven't found your cousin. As you well know, we cannot leave without him.
Have no fear. I will bring him back in time to make our scheduled departure. Is everything ready?
I'm still without news of my cabin boy, but we will...
I spoke with a woman who told me she was the mother of the cabin boy. She claims that her son was taken from her.
Taken? Her son is sea-gifted. His parents were required to give him up to honor the terms of a contract.
A contract? But what kind of contract are we speaking of?
A commercial contract. In exchange for services rendered by the Nauts, some families cede more than gold. In some cases, nations even trade some of their subjects before they're born. I wouldn't be able to tell you the condition of Jonas's contract. I didn't even know he was originally from Serene. But what I can tell you is the young man hasn't seen his parents since he was a small child. And ever since, he's been a Naut. Our ships are his home. We are his only family.
Be back soon, Captain.
You see anyone else who might be able to help us? Anyone who's not a Naut?
Sir de Corsillion's a veritable well of scientific knowledge. He could tell us a little more.
But I still don't see Constantine at your side. I hope he hasn't been the victim of any foul play.
Don't worry. We'll find him in time for departure.
I certainly hope so. Would you be in need of my help in any way?
I've had a word with Lady Fontaine. You must know her. That rich family that lives near the docks. She told me a strange story about her son who was a cabin boy on our ship. She said that he was taken when he was a child due to some contract with the Nords.
Who was a cabin boy? Do you mean he's no longer one?
They took him back to bring him home.
Well, that is very unpleasant news, de Sade. We need to do all we can to bring the boy back to his ship. Since time immemorial, there's always been a certain price to pay for the services of the Nords. Children born on their ships belong to them. It's the rule of the sea. But certain contracts are so important that they also require children to be offered in exchange. From time to time, the congregation has passed such accord, and certain noble families had to give their children up.
Are you telling me that the Fontaines lost their son because of some agreement signed between my uncle and the Nords?
No. That pact ended a long time ago. This cabin boy couldn't have been a part of that contract. But Sir Fontaine has made a fortune trading with the Alliance, via ships.
Do you mean he would have offered up his own son in exchange for wealth?
Well, he probably did it before the birth of the child, and regretted it afterwards. But that is of little importance. What counts most is that you bring the boy back to the Nords as quickly as possible. Breaking a contract with the seafarers has always cost us dearly. Our nation could feel it in its coffers.
I will do my best.
A father selling his own son for a few boat rides. For ugly, that is ugly.
Lady Fontaine didn't seem to have any knowledge of that detail. That could be of use to us. Excuse me, madam, but I haven't quite finished my inquiry yet.
If you would be so courteous, I would like you to leave. I have told you all that I have to say.
Come on now, stop lying. Jonas was taken away by force against his will by armed men.
That is not true. Completely false.
Enough! With every word, you are a step closer to a prison cell.
Prison? But what would be the charges?
Kidnapping. Whether Jonas is your son or not, he is a naught that you kidnapped and locked up. In the eyes of the prince, you have committed a crime that puts the interests of the congregation at great risk.
I beg of you, Your Excellency. Have mercy on a poor mother who is looking only to recover her child. We didn't kidnap our own son. And if you need to speak with him to be convinced, please do. He's in our warehouse, near the Coin Guard Plaza, next to the canal. I am certain that once you have heard his account, you will see the tragedy in our predicament and help us.
I regret threatening that woman.
You didn't have a choice. She was lying, and we need to find that boy. Here we are. Be careful. Fontaine won't be alone. He'll have his henchmen with him.
Let's just try to remain discreet.
So, de Sade, what are you doing here?
I've come looking for your son. The Naughts are worried about his disappearance.
Those Naughts took him from us, but now we've got him back, and he'll be staying with us.
Would you be so kind as to hear what I have to say, Sir Fontaine? I looked into the contract that binds you to the Naughts. It was indeed you who ceded your son to them in exchange for help with your business with the bridge.
It is so. But that sort of contract is ignoble. I never would have signed it if I had known.
You should have thought of that before. Breaking the contract could have regrettable consequences for the congregation.
The prince will know how to negotiate with the Naughts. If they take my son back, my wife will die of sadness.
Her sadness would be all the more terrible if she learned of your role in the story, don't you think?
You wouldn't dare tell her. I beg you.
You're not leaving me with a choice.
Very well. Take the key and take him away. Cursed be the day I delivered my son unto the Naughts.
All children leave the nest one day or another, sir. Farewell. Locked. Locked.
Who are you?
My name is de Fradee. I am legate of the congregation. Your captain has sent me to find you.
And were you able to convince my father to allow me to go free?
Yes. Even if I had to bend his arm a little.
That doesn't surprise me. He seemed to have no intention of changing his mind. I feel more sorry for my mother. She seems so sweet and happy to see me.
You don't seem to be all that close to your parents.
I hadn't seen them since I was 5 years old. I barely remember them. They find me, capture me, and lock me up in this warehouse. Hard to grow close after all that. My family is the Naughts. I am sorry for my parents, but that is the way of it now. Can I go home?
Yes. You should still go and say farewell to your mother. Then find your way to the ship. I'll see you there.
Sir, you still haven't found your cousin. As you well know, we cannot leave without him.
Have no fear. I will bring him back in time to make our scheduled departure. Is everything ready?
My cabin boy, Jonas, is back on ship. I have you to thank, I imagine.
You do. It's a rather sad affair, and though solved, leaves a broken family behind.
All we can do is plot a course. No one tells the wind what to do. I do thank you. I didn't think you'd go to so much trouble for a cabin boy. Your actions bring you honor.
Be back soon, Captain. Good day, Excellency.
Sir de Sade, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I have come to inform you that my cousin Constantine and I are departing for Teer Fradee on the hour.
Ah, yes. I did indeed hear talk that you had both received callings of greater stature. Allow me to congratulate you. Were you not named legate of the congregation?
You are correct, Excellency. I thank you.
It is a station of great honor that I am sure you will fill with brio and panache. The Mother Cardinal Cornelia will be enchanted to work with you, and your cousin in the future. I only regret that your departure is so sudden.
Really?
To be entirely honest with you, I was hoping to solicit your help in a rather delicate matter.
Tell me more about it. And perhaps I can take care of your problem before my departure.
Very well. A small group of dangerous heretics has found refuge in Serene. We know that your uncle tolerates the presence of all pagans within the city walls. But these particular non-believers threaten the fragile harmony of this place. We would consider it a tremendous favor if you would arrest them and deliver them to our guard.
Heresy is not a crime in Serene. You do know that. But I'm sure my uncle would hear your arguments. Why call on my intervention?
The prince would indeed give us his blessing, but it would take time. Far too much time. For according to our sources, these fugitives have already made contact with a smuggler to take them who knows where.
I see. You're hoping that I'll be able to do something before they make it to an enemy city. If your heretics are planning on boarding a ship, then they must be in the dockyards. I'll look into this and see what I can do. Could you tell me anything about Ptolemy?
It would be a pleasure. As you already know, our glorious nation is guided by our faith. We follow the teachings of Matthias, our founder and greatest prophet, and give thanks each day to the Luminous for having gifted us magic. The high dignitaries of Ptolemy are at the same time our spiritual guides, advocates, and grand mages.
I've heard say that dissensions have appeared recently in your nation.
Ah, you must certainly be speaking about the debates that have divided the Ordo Luminous and the more political orders. The Lord Luminous has an extremely pure vision of our faith and applies the words of our saint very strictly. But other, more open-minded factions exist within our nation. They believe that a less rigid dialectic would attract souls more readily to our faith. But their differences are purely theoretical and do not threaten the cohesion of our nation, I assure you.
What's your point of view on the relations between our two nations?
As ambassador of Thélème, I can only rejoice at the mention of our commercial treaties. We appreciate as well the welcome that your uncle gave to our missionaries. Thanks to your support, more and more believers wander your lands. The congregation is our most precious ally. To be perfectly honest, we have only two complaints. That heresy is tolerated, and that your treaties with the Bridge Alliance are maintained.
How is Thélème faring on Teer Fradee?
We built a marvelous city, San Mateus, on the western coast of the island. Did you know that certain historians believe that it might well have been the final resting place of our prophet? Our missionaries there are a multitude. Not a day passes without new islanders joining our sacred faith. Of course, there are certain pockets of resistance. There is talk of a demonic cult, disgusting creatures. But I am confident that the Ordo Luminous will be able to put an end to these horrors. And we have tremendous hopes that the entire native population will join our ranks.
How goes the conflict with the Bridge Alliance?
Your territory is, alas, the only one that has been spared from the ravages of war on the continent. We fight on every front, without great success, one must say. But what other choice do we have? These so-called savants not only refuse the light, but are determined in their fight against it.
And on Teer Fradee?
To my knowledge, no one has yet seen any serious fighting. The Bridge have succeeded in provoking the natives there, and have their hands full keeping them at bay. Which leaves us greater latitude to settle peacefully and pursue our mission of conversion.
I must be going. Farewell, Excellency.
May the light guide you, de Sade.